Welcome to the 2017 Food and Wine Classic in Aspen. We are so happy to have you all here. My name is Justin Chappell. I'm a deputy editor in Food and Wine's Test Kitchen. And I have the incredible pleasure today. I'm actually very excited to give this introduction because I'm such a gigantic fan of Carla Hall. Yes. Much like all of you, she was my favorite on Top Chef and Top Chef Masters. She's my favorite co-host of ABC's The Chew. But you know, if you put all the television aside, one thing that is so true is that Carla Hall is a rock star chef. She cooks with her heart, and she's a master at it, and you're going to get to see a lot of that today. And if you happen to find yourself in New York, make sure you check out her new restaurant, Carla Hall Southern Kitchen. So we have Scott Conant next door, and he has a loud crowd, so we're going to be as loud as we possibly can, right? Because we're at the, yeah, so let's bring out Carla Hall! Woo!
Step back, 'cause I might put it on. I go deep, so deep, then I sleep so sweet. Cross the floor like I'm grown with my feet. You don't want me here to show, yeah. Hop on the beam, flip it over. Word up and toe up, show up. Ain't scared to take it all.
Doing? You sound great. You sound really great. I see some friends from Arkansas. What's up? Howdy. Hooty hoo. All right, I'm going to jump right in because I only have 45 minutes, and I really want to take you on a buffet of the South. So we're going to do Nashville-style hot chicken, which I do at my restaurant, but I want to make it easy and approachable for you all at home. We're going to do the hot oil that I put the chicken in, and then we're going to do some cornbread. We're going to do Chow pickle, and those of you who don't know what that is right now, you will in about 25 minutes. And then we're going to make some buttermilk biscuits. Come on. I have your whole table planned out for Sunday supper. All right, so I'm going to make the chicken seasoning that I put on my chicken. Whatever. So I'm going to make the chicken seasoning that I put on my chicken. I have salt, which is 1 cup, and then all the other ingredients are a half a cup, equal parts. I have paprika, I have cayenne, I have garlic powder, and onion powder. And you don't have to make that much, but whenever I am making a dry seasoning mix, you may as well make a lot of it because you don't need to make it every single time. I would always tell my husband, who would make this black pepper chicken curry, Matthew would make the chicken seasoning, every single time. And I'm like, Matthew, you make this at least once a week, and it's one of my favorite dishes because go ahead and just make a jar of that stuff so that we can get dinner done. All right, so you mix this up. And then you can just hold this in a jar or whatever, and it's just ready for you whenever you are doing your chicken. And so I have this already here. And then I'm going to take my flour, just all-purpose flour. Then I'm going to put in some additional cayenne and paprika. And then I'm going to use a little bit of this seasoning in the flour. That's it, okay? Easy peasy. And we're going to mix that up. Now I'm going to get my chicken parts. It's always easier, everybody, if you buy, not easier, oh my God, I'm sneezing. That pepper. Whoa, did you get it? You're good over there, the camera? Okay, the camera may be sneezing if it goes like this. Okay, so I have my seasoned flour, and this is exactly how we do it in the restaurant. In the restaurant, we actually use a vinegar powder, and so, but that does a whole other thing, but I'll talk about that later. All right, chicken seasoning, let me get my chicken. Now, I take a whole chicken. I usually take a whole chicken and cut it up because it's cheaper. I also know exactly what I'm getting. And, well, mainly it's cheaper, really. Who am I kidding? That's really the thing. It's cheaper. And I want to see my whole chicken. And I want to know what it looks like inside. And I'm going to put these tiny gloves on my big hands. All right, so I have, oh, shoot, I got my chicken seasonings over here. I need more of that. So I have my chicken here. My chicken is going to go into my bag. It's all about the zip-top bags, right? Participation. I'm not just talking to myself. Okay, it's one thing when you're on television, but we do have a live audience. Hello. Okay. I mean, oh my gosh, y'all. All right, so the chicken goes in the bag. I'm going to put a little bit of my chicken seasoning in, about a couple tablespoons just to coat it. Now, that vinegar powder that I said that we used in the restaurant that we don't have here and that you are not going to have at home, we're going to take our pickles and we're going to use some of that pickle juice because you have it, you bought it, why aren't you using it? Okay? It's like that lemon zest. If a recipe calls for lemon juice, you should use the lemon zest too. You bought that, right? Mm-hmm. Okay. Okay. So we're going to massage that, get all that pickle juice in there, and all that seasoning. Mm-hmm, that's right. Mm-hmm, give it the love that it deserves. All right, now this is going to go into the refrigerator and just sit there for about 4 hours or so overnight. It's done, okay? Who's counting? Somebody counting for me? Okay, and then when you put it in there, you're going to get 2 of these. Okay, great. Okay. Yeah, because that's how it works, It has little babies. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and go into my flour mixture, and then the thing you're going to do is press that flour on to the chicken so that it gets all in the crevices. Just drop it in the flour. Oh, it smells so good. The pickle juice, I'm telling you, it's a game changer. Game changer. Okay. I want to get this into the pan really quickly because we don't have any swap out chicken. We need to get her done. Okay. Yep. So you see this whole pressing the flour onto the chicken. And I don't do that buttermilk thing. I don't do that, let it go into the refrigerator, come out, put more flour in it, Because sometimes I'm okay with that chicken. It's just not my chicken. And sometimes it's so much crust, it just breaks away from the chicken, right, itself. Okay, so I'm going to pass this to you. So that's all done. I'm going to take these gloves off, and then I'm going to flip my cutting board over. There's a lot going on right here. Okay. All right. So let's see how our oil is doing. Yep. You see how it's bubbling a little bit. The flour. So that means it's ready. And you don't want your oil to be too hot. I'm using canola oil. You can use rice bran oil. You can use peanut oil. You can use safflower oil. You can use Mario's olive oil. It's up to you what you want to use. Okay. So we're going to go in slowly. And the thing is, you don't want your oil to be too hot because have you all ever fried chicken and it gets really crispy on the outside and then it's andante on the inside? Andante. Like al dente, but for chicken. Mm-hmm. All right, so these pieces are going to go and they're going to do what they're going to do. Okay, so we're going to watch those. We're not going to keep playing with it. Thank you, Colfax. So the thing is, sometimes when people are cooking things like this, they're like peeking and it's not cooking. Every time you take the pan off the stove and you're like lifting it up, that means that's 1 second away from it not cooking. Okay, so we're going to let that do what it's going to do. Now, let's talk about our hot oil. I have cayenne, I have paprika, I have some salt, and I have a little bit of sugar. I'm going to turn the wrong oven. Turn this on. Okay, come on. Oh, you're on. Good. Okay. Now, I'm going to be juggling. I'm going to put my pan in the oven for the cornbread right now. So I have 2 cups of oil. I have half my oil in the pan already. I'm going to add, and these recipes you can get on the website, so don't worry about the measurements and everything. So half the oil goes in here, and then I'm going to put my seasonings in here. There's paprika, there's cayenne, there's a little bit of sugar, and then there's salt. So this, I'm going to whisk here, and I'm going to heat this to about 165 or until it's fragrant. It takes about a minute. The thing that I don't want to do is put all of my oil in here so I have no recovery. I want to heat this oil up, heat it up gently so that I'm just extracting all of the oils from those spices, and then it's going to become a thing. And that thing is going to become hot oil. So that's going to get all nice. Yeah, that's looking good. All right, So I'm going to let that heat up just a little bit. The oil that I'm going to put in there is here. If you all start to smell it and I'm doing something else, just say, what? Pour it in. Okay, but I'm going to be moving on. Any questions about that? Y'all got that? Right now, you're looking excited. You're like, oh my God, Carla has taught me how to do fried chicken. You know, I'm going to be doing fried chicken this weekend. Okay, and let me tell you, I don't do a lot of fried chicken in my house. If I'm going to do fried chicken, we heat up the grill. My husband, Matthew, is right here. We heat up the grill. The fried chicken is on the outside because what I don't want my house to smell like is fried chicken. Okay? Perfect disclaimer. I'm just saying. Okay. All right, so we're going to make the cornbread. Now, I'm using this bowl for the cornbread. I can use another bowl. Yep. That's good? Okay. So I have my white cornmeal. You can use white or yellow cornmeal. Usually I use white cornmeal for hot water cornbread. Does anybody know hot water cornbread? Right? Yes. Okay, there are like 3 or 4 of you all out there. Okay, you do. Okay, yeah. And then for what my grandmother would call egg bread, I would use yellow cornmeal. But it doesn't matter. It still tastes corny. All right. I cracked myself up. Matthew was like, oh, God. Insert eye roll. Okay, so the salt goes in there, baking powder, and later we're going to talk about baking in a high-altitude environment, which, honestly, I know nothing about. We're going to bring Stacy out here for that. Okay, so these are the wet ingredients. Whenever I am making, and I'm going to throw these hints out, whenever I am making cornbread or some of these dishes for Thanksgiving or a big party, I try to figure out how can I do this where I'm thinking like a caterer. And if you're doing a big party, this you can have already done, set aside in a baggie. This can already be done. If you make cornbread on a regular basis, this can be done. And then you're going to put your wet ingredients together, and this can be done and all together. So I'm going to add my eggs. Then I'm going to put in some oil. Now, you will notice that there is no flour in this cornbread. It happens to be gluten-free. How are we doing here? I don't smell anything yet, so. Okay. That's pretty good. Okay, thank you. So eggs, oil. Then I'm going to add in some sour cream. So no, there is no gluten, but the one thing that I want to tell you guys, there's no gluten in this, but the cornbread is really light. And when you are replacing the gluten with other things, a lot of times it's fat and sugar. I'm doing it right here. Now, speaking of sugar, there is no sugar in my cornbread because in the South, we may like sweet tea, we may like sweet desserts, we may like a whole lot of other sweet things, but what we don't want is sugar in our cornbread. The sugar belongs in the dessert, not the cornbread, okay? All right, so we have our sour cream, and then here I have some cream corn. I took fresh corn and some heavy cream, and I mixed it, but you can use the can. I use the can at home. All right, so this is going to go in here. And then I'm going to put in my cream corn. I just put it in the food processor, or you can put the blender. You can leave it chunky if you want, white corn or yellow corn, and then you mix it up. How easy is this? And I'm going to tell you, my mother doesn't cook, but when we do Thanksgiving dinner and I make sure that everyone is actually helping with Thanksgiving, I give them a recipe. My mother gets the cornbread, and she's so proud of herself. I mean, I don't have to say, bless your heart, and mean something else. I mean, it's like really good. It's like oh, bless your heart. Okay. So I have my mix of the cornbread made, and then I put my skillet in there. I'm going to add a little bit of oil to the skillet. You have your cast iron skillet just like Granny used to have. I'm going to put the oil in the skillet because when this pan gets really hot, I'm just going to swirl that around. When the pan gets really hot and I pour in this cornbread mix, y'all are excited because you know what's going to happen. So that oil is going to be in the pan, and then it's going to creep up. Yes, creep up around the sides. And you know those crispy bits around the edges that everybody's fighting over? That's what's going to go down with that. Okay. So my chicken is looking good. I am not disturbing it. Let's see. I just want to do a peekaboo. No, I'm going to show you what's happening. Look at that. Look at that. Let's just turn it, right? We're going to turn it because we're going to do it. We're going to turn it again. We're going to get this side done. Oh, ho, ho. Oh, yes. Oh, yes, we are. Oh, yes, we're doing this. Oh. Welcome to Granny's house. All right, so that's that. That's going to continue to cook. This, my hot oil is starting to get fragrant. I'm just waiting for a few little bubbles around the edge so I know that that is looking good and all those oils are opening up and becoming really fragrant, and then I'll add in the rest of the oil and then that's done. Okay, just remind me, Colfax, about my hot pan. Absolutely. Okay, so I'm going to set this aside. And now are we doing biscuit time now? Biscuit time. I see you. I see you jumping in your seat, and rightfully so. I feel that biscuits, if this is a religious experience, this is taking flour and butter and those other things and just basically taking those ingredients and lifting them up to be the foundation of so many things. Yes, yes, wave the hat. Wave the hat. All right, you guys. I bring people into my restaurant to teach them how to make biscuits because I think that people should know how to make biscuits. Okay. We have our flour here. We're going to add in baking soda. And Stacy, can Stacy come out? Stacy's going to, where's Stacy? Stacy's going to come out. She had to, here she is running. Don't run, Stacy. It's okay. She's going to come and explain how we had to change this recipe for the high altitude. So I use salt, baking powder, baking soda, and sugar, and then those are the things you're going to talk about, right? Okay, come on. You have a mic? What's up? You need to talk in my chest, or?
Well, with baking, when you're baking, when you're baking something that has a chemical leavener, which is baking soda or baking powder, that's usually when you want to adjust your recipe. You want to adjust your recipe based off of your elevation. And if you go online, Google images, you can Google like a handy-dandy little chart. And I don't know if you can get that. But it shows based off of your elevation, you can adjust, increase or decrease your baking powder, sugar, eggs, fats, and liquids.
So there you go. Now it takes a little reading. It takes a little reading, but you know, you guys can do it. Okay, are we ready? Are we ready over here? I think so. Yep. So that looks good. We're going to add, it smells nice and fragrant and opened up.
Great, yeah.
We're going to add the rest of the oil, take it off the heat, stir that a little bit, and our hot oil is done.
Excellent.
Here you go.
Your hot pan in the oven, too.
Oh, great. My hot pan is in the oven. Okay. You guys, let me do the hot pan. Hold on with the biscuits. We're juggling. I just don't want to run out of time. I feel like there's so often I run out of time, and I'm like, okay. So here I have my hot pan. And right behind you, sir.
Over here.
All right, my pan is hot. I have my mix here. And I'm going to go into the skillet where it is starting to bubble and to do its thing around the edges. And this is when I went to my grandmother's house for Sunday supper, this is when I knew we were going to be eating in 20 minutes. I'm like, oh. So look at that, all those little pieces. Like riding up on the side. Can you put that back in the oven for me? Thank you. You know, we'd go to my grandmother's house for Sunday supper after church every Sunday, and we'd get there, and we still had to wait for dinner. I'm like, but you knew we were coming every day. Every Sunday we come at the same time. Why do we have to wait? And she said, but I want hot cornbread. And she wanted us to have hot cornbread, and I didn't understand that. So it was only when we were on the inside of the door that she would basically start making the cornbread. But when that cornbread came out, and you had that hot butter, and it was melting on the top of that golden cornbread, what? Okay, now, that's one bread. We're back here over the biscuits. So I added the salt, I added the sugar, I added the baking soda, and the baking powder. And here I have a couple of tablespoons of shortening. And I'm going to mix that where it is completely mixed into the flour. And the reason that needs to be completely mixed is not the pea size like the butter, because if that is not completely mixed, your biscuits will not have that little crunchiness that you want them to have. That's what this shortening does. It makes them kind of light. It gives them some of that flakiness. All right, so this is all mixed. Okay, there's so many tips that I want to share with you about these biscuits. So that's the one. The next thing that I do is I get cold butter out of the fridge. Oh, butter's in the freezer, so it's in the freezer. Okay, cold butter out of the freezer. And I have a box grater. I'm going to spray my box grater. Oh, I was going to say, this is really hard. Okay. Spray the box grater. And I'm going to grate my butter. The reason I am grating the butter is because it is important that the butter has these nice flat pieces. And what I was finding is it was hard to explain to people how to make the butter flat but not overwork it. So I'm like, what can I do? What can I do? And I found that actually having them grate the butter makes it perfect. So, and the butter has to be cold. So look at that. Look at those nice little shards. That would be your hands. And also, I had to make a lot of biscuits. Okay? All right, so look at that. Let me get that. I need that flour back in. So now what I'm going to do is mix this up, just separating those pieces. And they're cold, and they're not sticking together. Okay. So if you wanted to have a biscuit kit, like the cornbread kit that I talked about, you can actually do this ahead of time. Make sure these pieces of butter are separated. Put it into a zip-top bag and into the freezer. And all you have to do when you get ready to make your biscuits is put in the buttermilk. So now the buttermilk goes in. You don't want to overmix it. I'm going to turn like this and do like little hash marks, just like this. Okay. And when I had a lunch delivery service, I made biscuits every day for 5 years. So I definitely have my 10,000 hours in making biscuits. And so, I mean, for real. So when I tell people about making biscuits, I'm kind of coming from experience. Now, Colfax, do we have some extra flour around? Absolutely. Okay, so let's get that. And while that's coming, I'm going to check on my chicken. It is nice and golden. I'm going to turn it one more time. Look at that, y'all. Look at that. Oh, great. Okay, so the hot oil is in there. Okay, awesome. We'll do a thermometer test to make sure that our chicken is cooked nicely. Okay. Okay, so the flour is coming, some bench flour. Another tip that I have, let me move this for you. I am going to spray my cutting board because when you spray the cutting board, this is where your flour is going to stick. When you have that bench flour, so now look at this. When I put the flour down, only the flour that can stick is going to be on the cutting board. Otherwise, you have too much flour, right? So what doesn't stick, you move to the side, okay? And then I'm going to spray my sheet pan. All right, so here we go. There are a couple other tricks. All right, biscuit dough. You see how loose it is? Not for long. Okay, there's that. So now I'm going to get a little bit of bench flour, sprinkle it here, pat, 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 pat. Now I'm going to do turns. Those of you, who out there makes a puff pastry? No one. Okay, 2 people way in the back. Okay, so, no, it's a no one. Okay, so you're going to do a turn. So turning. I'm going to do this about 3 times. Okay, and you see the openings there? And I pat the flour I don't need, pats away. I do another turn. I make sure it's smooth on the bottom, make sure my flour is here, and I pat down again. A little bit of, oh good, thanks sir. All right, so that's tip number 2. Well, tip number 3 really was Stacy, okay? But, okay, so there's that. Now I have my biscuit cutter.
Almost done over here.
Oh, okay, great. That's looking really good. All right, when you poke out your biscuit, you see how I've pinched it on the bottom? This is my biscuit cutter, right? What are these things? What does that do? Is that something new? What is it? It's a what? Oh, adjustable. She's telling me. I'm like, oh. Okay, so when I turn it over, you see where on the side it's pinched? You want to make sure that now that pinched edge is on top, because that little bit of pinching it, you want it on top because that will rise higher. If it's on the bottom, you're not going to get the benefit of that lift. So turn that over. Okay, like that. Okay, we're just going to get all these on here. If you want to do your biscuits like this and freeze them at this stage, you can. And you see how the bottom, I make sure that this is smooth because that's going to be the top now, right? And I want to get to the point where I show you what I do at the end when, obviously I've done this a lot. All of a sudden I go into production mode and I forget you guys are out there because I'm like, I got to get the biscuit done. Okay, all right. So when you are now gathering all of your scraps, a lot of people go ahead and make a ball. Stack them. This is almost like a turn. Stack them like this. Look for the smooth edge. Make sure that smooth edge is on the bottom, and then punch out again. Boom, right? Push them together, turn it to the side, punch out from the smooth side, boom. Okay, that'll be a song one day. Okay, so punch out, find the smooth side, and then this is the Granny biscuit. This is the biscuit that Granny would always have that I wanted because her hands touched it the most. And I'm like, okay, and then these go into the oven. So there you go, that's your biscuit. Okay, are we ready?
Chicken's all set, yep.
Chicken is all set, you guys. Okay, let me wipe my hands. So, how about those biscuits? All right, wiping my hands off. Okay, so my chicken's ready. I am gonna drain it, and what we do at the restaurant, we drain it and then it goes right into the hot oil. I'm gonna go right in. Oh, good, no, I understood this, okay, good. One thing here, you see how my towels are bunched up? When I have fried foods, I bunch up my towels because when the food sits on a bunched up towel, it's not sitting in the fat, it's sitting up on those crevices. Whatever this is, be it French fries, nothing has to sit in the oil, okay? So that's that. And then if you're salting, you can go ahead and salt it at this point, but we don't need to do that. So, okay, taking my beautiful chicken. Oh, I'm gonna wait, because I'm gonna do my chow chow. Okay, but let me turn you, because you look good. Okay, I'm gonna come back to that. Let me do my chow chow. How's my time?
Your time's good. You got 15 minutes left.
Scats of time. Oh my God. Let's read a book. Let's have book club. All right, so I take green cabbage and I shred it into the food processor, okay? And then I take my onions and I have my green tomatoes and I have the peppers. This can be anything. The thing about a chow chow, it means chop chop. It can be whatever you have. My dad makes this. He makes it with more red tomatoes, and it's kind of like pickled vegetables, okay? So I'm gonna take this. Take my tomatoes, especially when you all who have gardens and you want to do something with all that produce and stuff. I'm working on my next cookbook, and I'm doing a winter chow chow with beets and horseradish. And I know, girl, won't be out till 2018, so I need some time. Okay, I'm just going to move these and not worry about cutting those. So this goes here. Okay.
Oops, should have gotten a bigger bowl.
Oh, that's all right. Is that going to work?
We can maybe mix between
Yeah.
the two.
Yeah. So this takes a little bit of planning for the chow chow because what you have to do is salt this. You salt the vegetables. Okay, mix this all up. And actually because there's so much water in vegetables, this will wilt down incredibly. And so we put half our salt here, half our salt here. And it seems, oh, and I have my jalapenos because we need a little bit of spice. I know, right? Somebody say, yes. All right, mix that up. This sits in the fridge overnight with all the salts on it. And we make our own chow chow at the restaurant. And just the colors, it feels like summer. And when you put up these vegetables in the summer and then in the winter, you remember, right, all the goodness and the summer goodness. So you mix all this up. And you see how that's wilting down? Okay. Thank you, sir. So this goes into the fridge. And then the next day, you rinse it with water because that's a lot of salt, right? So you don't want to keep that. If you forget to rinse it, you're probably going to have to do another batch without salt and mix that in because it's going to be a salt lick and you're just going to ruin it. I mean, and your time. I mean, come on. Okay. So this is that same amount that was actually rinsed. Yeah, and it just wilts right down. The same amount, okay? Now what we're going to do, we're going to take our pickling liquid and we're going to put in our apple cider vinegar. And this is where, I mean, do it the way that I did it for the recipe for the first time, but then after that, it's just let the recipe be a guide. You need an acid. You need some spices. So I have turmeric, and this is really for that beautiful color. And then I have some mustard seeds, black pepper. I have water and a little bit of sugar. Okay? Thank you. So I'm just going to mix that up. And this comes up to a boil. And while that's doing that, I'm going to show you how I handle this. I take my jar and I put my vegetables in the jar. And this is, obviously this is a big jar, but just so I don't have to fiddle and look foolish trying to get my vegetables in there. I mean, yeah, transparency is a thing. Oh, sorry. Okay. All right, so you get that in there. And honestly, while you're doing this, this is the kind of recipe that you can do a lot of. I think it's a great gift to give people while you're making it. Go ahead and make a lot. So this goes all in here. Okay. Oh, how's the cornbread?
Ooh, it's looking good.
Look at those biscuits. Are those my biscuits in high altitude? Look at them. I mean, they're not done, but look at them. Oh, my God. Real time, babies. Okay. I get so proud of myself still. Okay. Look at the edges of the cornbread. Look at it. Look at it. It's doing it. I know, y'all, I'm telling you, your next Sunday supper is going to be hitting and holding. Okay. So this is all coming to a boil. All you have to do, take this mixture, and then I think I should probably pour it into a Pyrex so that I don't lose it. But you know, whenever you're pouring from a big thing, just commit to the pour. So that I always say, commit to the pour, Chow. Okay, boom. Don't try to do that slow thing. That doesn't work. Okay. So, and then I just pour this into my jar, just to cover. Yep. What not? And then you put this, and then this is a refrigerator pickle unless you know how to seal your jars. But you can seal the jars and put them up, that's fine. But you can also, those of you who don't do that, you can just put it in the refrigerator and it's good like in a couple days, okay? So then this goes into the fridge. All right. Now, let's get our chicken set up. Just want to show you guys this because we're almost out of time. It's been so much fun me being here with you. Okay, so let's have that platter that we are going to put the chicken on. Thank you, sir. And then we always have our white bread. I mean, some good old white bread, Wonder Bread, anything, you know. At the restaurant, we start, right? Clap for the white bread. Who was clapping for the white bread? I know. I love it. Okay, so just lay this out here, just like this. And this is something that, honestly, you can be eating with your chicken. So you lay this out here. Okay, I have my pickles, and I'm just going to slice the pickles. So slice the pickles, or you can buy the hamburger chips or whatever. Or, you know, if you go to the farmer's market and there's a pickler in your neighborhood, get to know the pickler. Oh my God, so good. Have my pickles, okay. Now, I'm gonna take my chicken. I have my hot oil. Get on down in here. Oh yeah, I'm doing this. This is like the shrimp scampi of the South. Okay, roll it around in the oil. In the restaurant, we have 6 levels, but the one level is Southern. So you can play with different peppers, and we try to balance the pepper with fruit. So with our habanero pepper powder, we balance it with a pineapple powder, or we balance the Scotch bonnets with a mango powder. So this goes on here like this. I'm breathless with excitement. Okay, just like that. Oh, why not? Just because you just want that bread to just say, hey, I love you and I know what you're there for. Sausage. Okay, so that's that. Okay. And then because that's all that spice, you balance this off with some pickles that we have. Thank you. So, little pickles. Oh, no! Pickles, yes. Each one gets at least one pickle. Pickles, like that. Pickles, like that. Okay, so we've got that. All right. Then, those biscuits, oh, my chow. Those biscuits are going to be coming out, but we have our biscuits. Okay. Look at, oh my gosh, right? I don't know who's going to be here for those biscuits, but I know one of them's going to be mine. Okay. We have our cooked cornbread. We have our chow. The only thing is missing is some greens. I'll be making those tonight. Okay. So, what happens? Does somebody come up and taste it or no? They can't. Okay, the white bread lady. Okay, you back there with your hand up. Yes. Okay, come on up here. All right. So, here's some plays. Hi, what's your name?
Amy.
Hi, Amy. And come on up. What's your name? Bob. Dr. Bob.
Yes.
Dr. Bob, can you eat this?
Oh, yes.
No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. All right. Okay. Oh, that's hilarious. But knowing, the thing is, Dr. Bob, I have a leg here. Do you want, I'm just going to pull a piece, okay? Okay. A little piece, we'll just share it. Okay. Okay. A biscuit. Piece of cornbread. While you're up here, can you work a little bit and get me some chow on the plate?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, okay. Awesome.
Could be hard.
Okay.
How much?
How much do you want?
I don't know. A lot. More is always better.
Yes. All right. Okay. So good.
Oh my God. It's like being in Mississippi again.
Okay. I'll take the jar from you.
thank
You have your plate. And then you guys, here, come on over here. Dr. Bob, okay. All right.
So beautiful.
All right, go ahead and take a bite.
Oh my gosh.
Let me take a biscuit.
Oh, the biscuit, cornbread.
These are cold. If you're still here, when these come out, maybe I'll give you half of one. Okay.
It's amazing.
Wow. Wow. It is so juicy.
Right?
It is
So juicy. And then that cornbread that happens to be gluten-free, if you have some friends who are particular in that kind of way, that's
Oh,
good.
there's the spice.
Oh, yeah. Oh, I forgot to tell you, it's a slow burn. It's a slow burn. So there you go. You guys, this is totally doable. Have your hot chicken. That's good on fish. It's good on other things. It's good for salad dressings, not just hot chicken. And then the cornbread, come on. So can I get, Colfax, thank you. All of your team, thank you guys. Come on up. All right. Many thanks to KitchenAid. You guys made this possible. This kitchen is beautiful.
Put this right out in front, right?
Oh, yes.
Oh, yeah.
All right, so this is what I do. I just want to say I'd never do this at home. The chef at home is right there. I don't cook at home. Thank you all for coming out. I hope you have a wonderful time at the festival. I'm honored to be here and honored to be here with you. So thank you very much. Oh! No, we don't have time for questions, do we?
You can do a couple questions.
Oh, I'm sorry. I do have time for questions. Anybody? Yes. My restaurant is in Brooklyn, New York. Carla Hall's Southern Kitchen, and yeah, we should be reopening in a couple of weeks. I closed, and we're redoing some things, but I should be open up in a couple of weeks. Yeah. So we have the chicken, and all of our sides are vegetarian, because I really wanted vegetarians to come there and feel like they didn't have to choose or have one thing. So yeah. Anybody else? Yes.
What kind of shortening do you put in the biscuits?
I did good old Crisco. Come on. Yeah. And I've tried the non-homogenized ones. They don't work the same. Yes.
What about your flour? You
I use King Arthur winter wheat. So just like your standard King Arthur flour, like a white lily or a soft wheat does not work. It doesn't have enough gluten. So I'm glad you asked about that. So don't try to throw like white lily or anything. I even use the winter wheat, which is like the King Arthur or all of those for my biscuits, because the lighter flour, they'll make a lighter biscuit, but I think that if you don't overwork the dough, it's going to be fine. They don't get as much color when you use the softer wheat. Yes, over here.
Yes, on the Crisco, is it cold or just room temp?
It helps if it's cold. It gives you more time. I'm so used to working really fast. Just the refrigerator. Once you portion it, even if it's in the refrigerator for 5 minutes while you get everything together. It doesn't have to be solid and cold and frozen. Yes?
Do you have your recipes that you did today on your website?
They're going to be on the website for the festival, correct?
Yeah, they should be.
Yeah, so for the festival, you'll have them. Oh, and do use them. I mean, seriously. What? Yeah, one more question.
You said hot water cornbread, but I missed you putting hot water in there.
Oh, no, this was egg bread. This was different. So I usually use the hot water cornbread is the cornmeal, hot water, and then some kind of fat. It could be bacon fat, if you happen to have that. It could be just the hot canola, and you actually take the hot water, pour into the cornmeal, it gets soft, and then you make those into patties and you fry them. Ain't nothing bad about that. Yeah. What kind of wine? Who's a wino? I mean, not the wino. What kind of wine? I know we do actually a watermelon tea beer with this at the restaurant. Does anybody want to say what kind of wine they would have with this? Rosé. Rosé. There you go. Rosé for everything. You guys have fun. Off to your next thing.